The 444 with the right kind of ammo in it, I mean, with any kind of ammo in it, you can shoot deer, you know, and medium-sized black bears. But you want to get up into the larger bears, the elk, the moose, those kind of animals. Then you want the heavy, you know, 300 grain plus bullets that are constructed so that they won't mushroom, or if they do mushroom, they don't mushroom a considerable amount. And that way you get deep, deep, deep penetration. Hi folks, Tim Sundles here. My beautiful wife Kim is filming on her iPhone. Today we want to talk about the 444 Marlin, and interestingly, we had a YouTube video about the 444 Marlin, and it was up for months. And then YouTube came along and said, months later, said it violated community standards, whatever that means, because I'm part of the community and I didn't pick any of those standards, and I don't think any of you all did either. So.
And it's all factual.
Yeah, well, it's just a gun video.
And educational.
They have issues with gun videos and anything related to guns and anything related to free speech and anything related to the U.S. Constitution. You know, any of those words come up in their AI and they're looking for a way to nuke you. So I'm going to redo this video and try to do it community standard compliant.
That would mean lies, babe, so we better not do that.
And I'm going to do it without lying. And if I have to lie, we won't do videos. So yesterday, I don't know if you can tell by looking at the backs of my hands, but yesterday I had stem cell injections in my knuckles.
You can tell he's high still because
it
was 2 days ago.
Well, I didn't take any painkillers today. And my hands are extremely swollen still. So I'm not going to be working actions or anything. Maybe that'll make us compliant. I didn't work the dreaded action on the gun. Let's start with the cartridges. That's a 4570, and I just put it there for comparison's sake. Both of these are 444 Marlin loads, and I'll talk about the loads a little later. And this is the 3855, and it's just there for comparison. When I hike around the Idaho woods, if I'm carrying a 444, which I generally don't because I've got so many 4570s, and the 4570 is a little more of everything. For example, that's a 430 grain bullet at 1925 feet a second. That's our plus P 4570 load. This is the 444 Marlin with a 335 grain bullet, so 100 grains lighter. It's doing around 2,000, maybe 2,025 feet a second. I tend to like this 300 grain expanding bullet because it's very stiff and it doesn't expand very much. So it's good for our grizzly bears around here that are usually under 700 pounds. If I was to get into Alaska, 1,000-pound plus grizzlies, I'd just go with the non-expanding hard cast. Thank you very much. And these are all straight wall cartridges. So if you're living in some of those straight wall states, I don't know why they decided to make a 360 Buckhammer or a 350 Legend or any of these other cartridges. All of these cartridges qualify for the straight wall late deer season cases. And the one I'd be using for whitetail is our plus P 3855. I mean, that's a 255 grain bullet at 2,000 feet a second. What more can you ask for? And I apologize for my shaky hands, but they're so swollen and so painful and so messed up that there's going to be a little bit of shakiness. So right here is just our typical hard cast 430 grain 4570 load. here's our two 444 loads that I use. We also make a couple of others. These are the two I use, being in grizzly country. And you can see how they compare to each other in terms of size over here where they're lined up next to each other. Again, 4570, 444, 444, and 3855. You can see how they line up and compare size-wise. And I have to tell you that while the 444 Marlin is less powerful than full-powered 4570, it's still plenty powerful for anything that walks on this continent. You know, the 444 came out, geez, I don't know when, in the 60s probably, because nobody at the time, none of the rifle makers were making 4570s any longer. You know, Winchester wasn't making them, Marlin wasn't making them, Savage wasn't making them. So everybody that wanted a full power, very powerful lever action cartridge was out of luck. And so Marlin came along, and they may have done it in concert with Hornady and came out with the 444. Now, with the right ammo, and it's got to be the right ammo, there's too many lightweight deer bullets out there to take on grizzlies. But with the right ammo, it's certainly 1,700 pound Alaska moose capable. It's certainly 1,200 pound Alaska grizzly capable with the right kind of ammo in it. And I will also say that Marlin, being Marlin, made these with a 1 in 38 twist, same twist rate they made, and both of these are Marlins, same twist rate they made their 44 mag 1894 models with. Well, that's just great if you never want to shoot bullets that weigh any more than about 270 grains. However, with the 444, as you speed them up, like to 2,000 plus feet a second, it makes the bullet spin faster, even with the lower rate of twist, because the bullet's going faster, so it's going to spin faster. And that makes up for the very slow rate of twist. And I can stabilize 335 grain bullets all day long in these Marlins. Because they're operating in excess of 2,000 feet a second, whereas a handgun with 44 mag wouldn't be operating that fast, and they won't stabilize bullets with a 1 in 38 twist. Even out of the rifles with the faster speed with 44 mag, it doesn't generate enough velocity to stabilize heavy bullets with a 1 in 38 twist. And everybody knows, if they've been around guns, that if you want to make a 44 mag with a 1 in 20, 1 in 24 twist, you can stabilize bullets well over 300 grains in a revolver. You know, and I remember, close to 30 years ago, Brian Pierce and I sitting down at SHOT Show with Tim Looney, the head engineer at then Marlin, and going, you need to step up your rate of twist in the 44 mag. Nobody can shoot bullets any heavier than 260, 270 grain bullets without them tumbling. And he goes, well, you don't need a bullet that heavy for deer. And I'm like, yeah, Tim, you don't live in the Rockies. We have grizzly bears, we have black bears, we have elk, we have moose. What about all those animals that a good heavy 44 caliber bullet is capable of taking? And he said, well, that's not our clientele. And I'm like, man, you've been the head engineer at Marlin too long. They need somebody that knows how to think outside of a box that was created by others, that's a dysfunctional box. And I run into a lot of that in the gun industry, and I'm pretty sure Tim Looney is still alive, living somewhere, and maybe he'll see these videos. But I have zero regard for his ability to think. Just me. I get rattled by people that won't think.
Well, and they're not end users. That's the problem.
They're everywhere, and they're everywhere in the gun industry, which is why so many guns don't work. Let's get into the guns. Marlin, in their 1894 angle eject, made some very slim, trim 444 models. I don't even know what they called this one. This is a 20-inch barrel with a full-length tube. Of course, they come with the stupid safeties. Mine have a habit. My safeties have a habit. No, they just break. They just...
Darn it.
Darn safeties just break.
Read between the lines, folks.
Yep. So now I can carry this gun. It hurts to cock it. I can carry this gun in a very safe manner with a round in the chamber.
And a broken safety.
And and a broken safety that I don't have to worry about engaging when I don't want it engaged.
Because it's broken.
Yeah, because it's broken. This rifle is actually with the full length tube. It'll hold 7 or 8 rounds. Very, very useful rifle. I put old time aperture sights on it because these hurts to do this with my hands, because these buckhorn sights are just really not very good for getting a real defined, real clear sight picture. But with that aperture sight on there, I get a wonderful sight picture. It's a big open aperture that won't get cloudy when I'm in heavy timber and in shaded areas. If you go with tiny apertures, they get real shadowy, real cloudy. You don't want that. You want the big open apertures. Your front sight will center in them automatically, totally naturally, with the same precision that you'll get out of a small aperture. You have to practice with it, like anything with guns. You need to be practicing. This is a Marlin Model 336. This is the very same action that the 4570 is built on. And keep in mind that the 444 Marlin operates at 44 or 43,500 cup. I don't know what that equates to in PSI. It's probably up around 50,000 PSI. And they make these Marlins chambered in that all the time. And they also made Marlins chambered in 307 Winchester and 375 Winchester and 356 Winchester, which operated at 52,000 cup, which has got to be upwards of 60,000 PSI. Folks, if anybody tells you in these Marlins, you can't shoot plus P 4570 ammo, which ours operates in the 40,000 cup range, they're just full of it. You might not want to listen to anything else they have to say either. They don't know what they're talking about.
And the problem with that stuff is they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah. They have no idea how screwed up their thinking is. And if you tell them, then they're really going to, be upset. Can't tell anybody in America anything these days. Everybody's got to be right.
Or offended.
Well, that's from getting participation trophies in high school when your team loses the basketball game. Oh, you get a trophy anyway. You won anyway. I mean, we really know how to screw up a society. None of this was done accidentally in our society. I promise. It was done on purpose. This 444 is an old Marlin before they put unsafe safeties on them. I bought this from Hank Williams Jr. I bought 2. He had 2. And one's a little less pristine than this one. They're collectible because not that many of them were made, and they're never going to be made again without that crossbolt safety. What I like about them is they're classy. They're so much classier with their little thin forearm than the modern Marlin with all the garbage on them. They're just a classy gun. This one I will leave as is. I may put an aperture sight back here because I can do it without altering the gun. It's already drilled and tapped. But what a beautiful old Marlin. Now, Hank Williams had 2 of those, and one of them was a little rougher than this one. I bought them both, and the one that's rougher is right now at a gun builder's, and he's making the barrel, instead of 24 inches, he's cutting and crowning the barrel to 20 inches, and then we're gonna do some cool stuff with the sights, and I'll actually have a very cool, very usable pre-safety Marlin. I don't tend to carry the Marlin near as much as I do the Winchesters, because the Winchesters are shorter and lighter. They're just very trim guns. This is another Winchester. They marketed these as the timber carbine, is what they called them. This one's got the short little 16.5-inch barrel on it with ports, which I don't like. And the safety on this one hasn't broken off yet, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna break sometime real soon.
Dang it.
Yeah, darn safeties just break. But this is a really slim, trim, nice little rifle, and both these Winchesters shoot just fine. I doubt this one weighs 6 pounds. It's probably under 6 pounds. You know, very handy, very nice, very, very usable. The 444 with the right kind of ammo in it, I mean, with any kind of ammo in it, you can shoot deer, you know, and medium-sized black bears. But you want to get up into the larger bears, the elk, the moose, those kind of animals. Then you want the heavy, you know, 300 grain plus bullets that are constructed so that they won't mushroom, or if they do mushroom, they don't mushroom a considerable amount, and that way you get deep, deep, deep penetration. Hope this little video on the 444 has been worth it to you, and there's something good in here for you. And having said that, I will bid you adieu with God bless, and we will see you on the next video.
And one more question. What's the difference between a 454 and a 444? If there is.
I could write a book on that.
Okay, folks. So that's coming next at some point.
Thanks.